The WWE Draft is less than 24 hours away, and we now have the rules, we now have the pools, and we now have all the need-to-know information about the 2024 WWE Draft. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. If you can hear anything in the background, don't worry about it. Speed is coming on, and no, I don't mean WWE Speed. I mean Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. Great movie. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. If you haven't seen WWE Speed, I recommend that you don't check that out because it probably fucking sucks. I mean, if the main shows suck, then I highly doubt some stupid show that is exclusive to Twitch or X or whatever is going to be decent. But anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the official rules and pools for the 2024 draft. But before we talk about this, the draft needs to be redone. It's dumb. It's retarded. We've seen some good drafts in the history of wrestling. Obviously, 2002, that will be the best one, where Ric Flair, Vince McMahon, they were drafting for Raw and SmackDown. Pretty much everybody was available, apart from the champion, who I believe at the time was Triple H. And I also believe Jericho and Stephanie McMahon were not to be drafted either because they were in a triple threat world championship match later that night. But everybody else was available outside of Stone Cold Steve Austin, who wasn't there either. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, everybody was available for the draft. It was the first time we were getting the brand exclusive rosters, so nobody was assigned to a show. There was no Raw guys, there was no SmackDown guys. It was McMahon and Ric Flair drafting their rosters. 10 picks were made by each on the show, and then after that, the rest were done on WWE.com via lottery. That was good. That was the best draft, no doubt about it. In 2004, we got another draft. Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was picking for SmackDown. Eric Bischoff was picking for Raw. How they done it back then was we got like two Trombolas. Eric Bischoff, the Raw GM, had a shitload of... He had basically everybody on SmackDown to pick from. And Paul Heyman, the SmackDown GM, had everybody on Raw to pick from. And they picked 6 balls each out of the Trombola. And that was it. The 6 guys that Bischoff picked went from SmackDown to Raw. The 6 guys that Paul Heyman picked at random went from Raw to SmackDown. Again, that was a good draft. I liked that. Then when we got ECW getting involved, WWE started doing another version of the draft. And it basically worked like the shows would have matches. So they would have like tag team matches or battle royal matches or single matches or triple threat. So the shows would compete in matches, and whoever won that match, the brand that they represent, would get a draft pick. So if we had a triple threat match, let's say Punk from ECW, Mr. Kennedy for SmackDown, Carlito from Raw. If Punk won the match, ECW would get a draft pick, and that pick would come from either Raw or SmackDown. They did that for a few years. That was another good version of the draft. In 2016, we got the same again with Mick Foley, Stephanie McMahon, Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. A little bit similar to the original draft in 2002, where everybody was made available, nobody had a brand, and they just drafted the entire roster, okay? That was the last good draft. Ever since then, it's been this retarded fucking draft where there's no GMs. People just come out and they just pick. They just go, oh, SmackDown selects so-and-so. Raw selects so-and-so. SmackDown's taking this guy. Raw is taking the other guy. And none of it makes sense, okay? We're supposed to have 2 shows going against each other. 2 shows competing against each other. And we've just never felt that. Now, maybe now we've got the fact we've got 2 different GMs, we might actually get a bit of that feeling. But in recent years, like, what has it mattered? Who has cared? Adam Pearce was running both shows. Why would he give a fuck if SmackDown got a top guy from Raw? Because he's going to be happy either way, because he's running both shows. None of that stuff made any sense. Another thing that doesn't make sense is how SmackDown and Raw could select guys that they already have. How can you draft somebody to your show when they're already on your show? The new draft just doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't. They need to go back and do something that worked in the past, because what they're doing right now just doesn't work. But anyway, guys, rant aside, we are on NoDQ.com here. Let's look at the official rules according to WWE's Wednesday edition of The Bump. So this is what they are saying. The 2024 draft. On SmackDown, there will be 4 rounds, 16 picks. On Raw, there will be 6 rounds, 24 picks. Champions on each brand are protected. Women's Tag Team Champions are eligible. SmackDown will pick first on Friday. Raw will pick first on Monday. Rosters lock Monday, May 6th. Right. My issue with this, though, is, like, how long is this brand split going to be in place for? I mean, I wonder how... Because last year, they pretty much broke it. I mean, within 1 week, they fucking broke the brand split. I wonder, like, at what point will this just become null and void and we'll see a SmackDown guy appear on Raw or a Raw guy appear on NXT? You know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. It might not happen straight away, but it will happen. Of course it will. It's when they get to WrestleMania season, you're going to get the top guys appearing on both shows. So, like, what is the point? Back in the day, when they did the brand split, you never seen a SmackDown guy appear on Raw unless there was a fucking good reason for it. Now, you just get these random appearances. Champions on each brand are protected. I like that. So we're going to get no champions moving. So the Intercontinental Champion will stay on Raw. US Champion will stay on SmackDown. Same for the World titles. That's no bad. Okay, fair enough. Women's Tag Team Champions are eligible. Okay, but you know for a fact, you just know, no matter what brand the Women's Champions get drafted to, they're going to be defending the belts on another show. It might take 2 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, 2 months, but you know for a fact that the Women's Tag Team Champions, let's say they get drafted to Raw. Right now it's Damage Control. Let's say Damage Control get drafted to Raw. You know at some point they will either be on SmackDown or they will show up on NXT to defend those belts. Like, what is the fucking point? I don't get it. SmackDown's going to pick first on Friday. Raw's going to pick first on Monday. Let's have a look then at the field. And again, I don't know why they have these pools. It's dumb. It is fucking dumb. Why not just have... I don't know. I don't know why they do it like this. Like, why not just have the SmackDown people available to pick on SmackDown and have the Raw people available to pick on Raw? I mean, you've got Braun Breaker, who is available to be picked on the SmackDown pool, and I believe you've also got Jade Cargill. I think she's there somewhere on the Raw pool. They literally just signed exclusive deals to SmackDown. Yet they're already in the draft. I don't get it. On Raw, you're going to have NXT superstars eligible. I don't quite get it. Ava Raine is supposedly going to be involved in this brand split, but when are the NXT picking? There's no word, there's no mention of Ava Raine picking anybody. It looks like it's going to be Raw and SmackDown. I'm assuming maybe Ava will come out at some point and just select a few people, but I don't know. For me, this is dumb. It's basically just the entire roster. You see Braun Strowman is involved in this draft, which kind of surprises me. We haven't seen Braun Strowman in a long time. But that is it, guys. That's the pool. That's who's available. I just think the draft sucks. Let me know. I can't be the only one that thinks the new version of the draft sucks. WWE did it so good back in the day. And yes, the 2002 one was different from the 2004 one. The 2004 one was different from the one that they did in 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. But they were still good, you know. They were all good. They were different, but they were good. Even the one they did in 2016 with the co-GMs. I mean, I thought that one was good. But what they've done since then has absolutely sucked. And it just makes no sense to me. Just random people coming out and... whatever. I mean, the years that we had Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville just coming out and announcing it in the really, like, generic, robotic way. SmackDown selects Bobby Lashley. Raw selects Bianca Belair. Who cares? Who fucking cares? Where was the emotion from these GMs excited to see somebody get drafted to their show? There was none. There was none. Will we get it this year now that we actually have a GM of Raw and a GM of SmackDown? Who knows? Only problem is the GMs suck. You know, they do suck. Nick Aldis is the best of a bad bunch, but Adam Pearce sucks and Ava Raine is probably the worst personality figure I think we've ever seen in wrestling. Even worse than Mike Adamle. I think at least Mike Adamle had a comedy element to him because he was so fucking bad at what he was doing, it was funny. Ava Raine just sucks. So there you go, guys. That's my opinion. Let me know what you think down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.